Hey, welcome back guys. This is Tyler with Orion's Tactical. Thank you guys for watching. Today's video is going to be on this ZevTechnologies Fulcrum trigger. It's a drop-in trigger kit. It's actually this one right here, the black with the red safety. It's installed right now, but before I show you guys the review, I wanted to show you how the trigger works and compare it to a factory trigger system. So I'll show you guys, look at the gap behind the trigger. You see there's a bigger gap here on the stock trigger compared to the Zev trigger. So it's already back a little bit further. Another thing I will show you, neither one of these guns have magazines, and there's an empty chamber. You always want to look for an empty chamber. Again, there's another empty chamber. So both these guns are safe. Alright, so already you can tell there's less gap at the back. So this trigger as is already set back a little bit further. So I'll go ahead and show you a stock Glock trigger pull. Okay, so there's going to be this little bit right here until I get that safety out of the way. So there's the safety out of the way. Now I'm going to start to pull. Alright, I've hit the wall. There's the brake. Now for the reset, I'm going to start slowly letting out. There's the reset. Now I'm going to let out the rest of it. You see how far that came out? So safety's off. There's the pull. I hit the wall. Little creep. And there's the brake. Now I'm going to start releasing and get the reset. So it's going out, going out. There's the reset. Brake again. Reset. Barely a little creep. Brake again. Now pay attention to, after I get the reset, I'll let the rest of it out and watch how far it moves. So there's the reset. So there's all this space before you hit the wall and after the reset. So that's right there on the edge of that wall. And then you slowly pull back and get your brake. You've seen how much creep was in that. So when I'm pulling, now I've hit the wall, there's still a little creep, and it breaks. Now I'm going to show you guys the Zev trigger. So the red safety's off. Now I'm already at that wall. Little creep. Now brake. Now let's try the reset. I'm going to start slowly letting off. There's the reset. And now watch and see the difference when I let out. That's all it moves right there. So there's this much space till you hit that wall. And then the brake. Compared to stock, you have all this. Then you hit the wall. So hopefully you can tell a difference in that. Safety off. All that movement right there. Brake. Reset. Off. Compared to this little bit of movement here. Brake. reset off. So it's a really nice trigger. Looks really good. What I've done with this is this is my carry gun, so I just use the trigger shoe and the trigger bar. So what you've seen just now is with just the trigger shoe and the trigger bar. That's not counting all the striker springs, the safety plunger, any of that stuff. I've kind of evened it out to where this is barely a little bit of a lighter pull because of the trigger bar, but it's a more comfortable trigger for my carry gun. So it's not real light. It's still probably, I would say, 4.5, 5 pound trigger pull, but I've got that nice flat faced trigger shoe. The weight is about the same here, except you've got all this extra movement. But I just wanted to show you guys that. So now I'll go ahead and jump on over to the review, and it's ZevTechnologies Fulcrum trigger. So I hope you guys enjoy. Hey, welcome back, guys. This is Tyler with Orion's Tactical. Today I wanted to talk a little bit about this ZevTechnologies Fulcrum trigger. It's a drop-in trigger kit. It's made in the USA. Really good, reputable company for aftermarket Glock parts. They do slide work, trigger kits, barrels, just about anything that you would want. Zev can do it. So I just wanted to show you guys this kit. I've had it for about a year now. It's been a really good trigger. I've got a couple other triggers sitting here just for a comparison. Let's see, I've got this one here. It's a Glock 19 trigger, and then this one on the left is a Glock 17 trigger. And I don't know if you guys knew this or not, but there is a difference. The Glock 19 and also the Glock 26, the trigger shoe has these ridges across it. You can see there, the one on the left doesn't have those ridges. So this one here is for a Glock 19 or a 26, and I think they had to have those ridges in the trigger just to import it into the United States, especially for the Glock 26. It just barely made it. And the Glock 17, you see there, it's just smooth. It's not flat. It does have a little bit of a curve to it, but it is smooth. So I like it a little bit better. This Glock 17 trigger, you can take this out and put it in a Glock 19, a Glock 26. You could probably fit it in more guns as long as it's 9mm. I know sometimes they vary from caliber to caliber, but they're the exact same size. Even the 26, the baby Glock, everything about it is identical. But these are just two that I wanted to bring out just to show for reference. So just wanted to point that out to you. The ridges on the front of the 19 and the 26, after a while they kind of start to hurt your finger a little bit. So if you got one of these spare Glock 17 trigger bars, you can drop that right in your 19 or your 26 and it'll be a little more comfortable. But I'll set those aside and start breaking into this kit here. This kit contains the whole drop-in trigger assembly. It's got the trigger shoe. It's black with a red safety. The trigger bar itself, the connector, the housing. You also get a 3-pound striker spring, 2-pound striker spring, safety plunger, and then a couple little Allen wrenches to do your adjustments. I'll go ahead and break into this. So when you get your kit, of course you're going to have your trigger here first. They do send a manual, that way you'll know how to install it, but it's pretty much just a drop-in system. Just make sure that when you go to do any work on your handgun, always safety check it. Make sure there's an empty chamber, point it in the safe direction to break your trigger, then take it apart. So just be safe about it. But they got step by step every single thing that you need to do to replace this. And then they have the adjustment, like there's for your pre-travel, and on the back side's for your over-travel, so you can actually adjust your pre-travel and your over-travel with this trigger. I didn't mess with any of that. It's pre-adjusted when they send it to you, and I liked it just how it was, so I left it how it was. Here's the trigger. Nice, flat. It's still got a curve to it, but the face is flat, so it's comfortable. A lot more comfortable than the stock Glock triggers. That's what I really like about this one. Another plus is the shoe is not polymer. It's actually made out of a steel. Same with the safety. It's steel as well. It is a Fulcrum trigger. There's your adjustment down in that hole there. And then your other adjustment is down inside there. So if you wanted to adjust it for your pre-travel and your over-travel, you can do that. Just be careful you don't do it too much, because you can mess that up. So it is Loctited when they send it to you, and I would suggest, if you do get one of these, drop it in your gun, see how you like it. Honestly, just how it is, set up from Zev when they send it to you, it was perfectly fine for me. You can tell a huge difference, so just try that out before you go tinkering around with it. Another thing to point out, the only thing that's really different on the trigger bar is this part right here. As you can see on the top, on the stock Glock trigger bar, there's that little, it's like a little bead right here. This one does not have that, and it's shaped just slightly different. I'm not sure how good you can tell, but it's got a different shape to it. You can see this one's kind of at a different angle. Let me see there. Yeah, it's at a little bit of a different angle. This also has, I think it's a 5 or 6 pound trigger spring, which you want this spring to be heavier because that's what controls your reset. And then there's a 3.5 pound V4 race connector, and it's also at a different angle than the stock connector, and it just smooths everything out, gives you a lighter pull. It all just works together. So that's it. It's polished really nicely, got a nice mirror finish on it. As far as the trigger housing goes, from what I can tell, it's basically identical to a stock Glock trigger housing. No differences at all. It wouldn't surprise me if it was a stock Glock trigger housing, just with some different components. The only thing, well, no, I can't really tell a difference at all besides the number that's stamped on the inside here. That one's got, I think, a 1. That one's got a 2. So not a big difference there. Anyways, that's it. It's just a drop-in piece. You drop that straight in your frame and you're good to go. As far as the rest of the kit, that would be what you would need your slide for. They send you a 3 pound striker spring, a 2 pound striker spring, firing pin safety, and I've noticed that it's got a different shape to it, and the spring is just barely a little bit longer than factory. Nice and mirror polished as well. And then they just send you these Allen wrenches. That's for your adjustment. I think they have to send you custom size Allen wrenches because they're so small. Same thing with their sights. They'll send you an Allen wrench with ZevTechnologies sights because they're so small. and if something happens, you lose the Allen wrench, you'd have to get in contact with Zev and have them send you a new one, because I don't think there's any out there small enough to fit it. But that's pretty much it, guys. One thing I will say, I put this whole kit, everything you see here, the firing pin safety and the 2-pound striker spring, that setup, it has a really light trigger pull, probably a 3-pound trigger pull, but with that 2-pound striker spring, you will get some light primer strikes. So it's not as reliable, and I do not like that. So the 2-pound spring is going to stay in this bag. As far as the 3-pound spring, everything you see here, the 3-pound spring and the firing pin safety, flawless. No hiccups, no malfunctions, no light primer strikes. The 3-pound spring is good to go. 2-pound spring, for competition use, that's fine, but I would not trust it to carry on a daily basis. Actually, what I'm doing right now is I've took just the shoe and the bar and put it into my carry gun. That way I can have this flat face trigger shoe on my carry gun. But the rest of the components stay on my Glock 17. That's more of my range gun. And yeah, so I'll just use that trigger shoe until I get a different one that I like better, and this will go back with my 17. But I'll go ahead and put these side by side as best as I can and give you guys a look at them. Kind of hard to line them up. Alright, I think I got them there. So the Zev trigger's on the right, Glock 17 trigger is in the middle, and the Glock 19 is on the left. So you can see the big difference there, especially between these two. You see how much flatter the Zev trigger is compared to this one. It's kind of round. So it's really comfortable. I would highly recommend it. Really nice, crisp trigger break, good reset, good weight, comfortable, and it looks good. So yeah, guys, it's a little pricey. For this whole kit, you're going to pay about 200 bucks. That's for the whole drop-in assembly, all the springs, the wrenches, the firing pin safety. But I can tell you that just this trigger shoe and the trigger bar alone will cost you about 150. So for 50 more bucks, you get the whole trigger housing, the connector, the springs. I thought it was worth it. And then they have an ultimate kit that has everything you see here plus a striker, and it's 250. But yeah, guys, I'm not working with Zev. This is a product that I paid my money for, so this is my honest review. And I have nothing bad to say about this trigger, guys. The only thing I can complain about is that 2-pound spring. You may as well just throw it away. It's not worth, even for a range gun. I think I went out one day with this 2-pound spring in. I got 3 or 4 light primer strikes, and that was enough for me to throw this thing back in the bag and just forget about it. But with the 3-pound spring, you are good to go. You're as reliable as stock. But yeah, that's all I got for you guys. Just wanted to show you guys that. I'll go ahead and give you another close-up here. Really nice. Zev makes all kinds of aftermarket Glock parts. I think they even do slides. They sell slides that have been milled out, cut. They do the trigger bars, trigger kits, barrels, everything. They've got all kinds of stuff. I really like this company. Like I said, I don't work with them. They're not paying me anything. It's just a company that I like, and wanted to bring this trigger review to you guys. So I hope you guys liked it. If you do, give it a thumbs up. As always, if you're new here, go subscribe. Got lots of good stuff coming. And that's going to be it for this video. So till the next one, this is Tyler with Orion's Tactical. You guys take it easy.